it's velvet. And these are video games, so let's check out my recent pickups. So this is going to be another one of those half and half situations, as in we'll do this stuff last, which is my standard online buys from Amazon, eBay. I've got a limited run one in here, Fangamer and all that, and our magazines from the Video Game History Foundation. But I also have some local pickups, which are not in a box, obviously, but they're big ticket items that I feel like we have to talk about, especially because with the amount of money that was spent, it's definitely getting roped into this collection update. So I, of course, have to keep indulging myself in what was, I couldn't pass up these games. Complete in box Game Boy Advance, we are still rolling in this nonsense big time, or at least I am. So I've got Wario Land 4 here. I will note right away the cost counter. Everything that I picked up recently in person, this is something where I don't remember the individual items because it was all a bulk deal that we came to one final number. So I'll just sort of guesstimate per game. But Wario Land 4, complete in box. Then we've got both Golden Suns here. Both Golden Suns. That is what I'm talking about, baby. And that is why you're already getting an idea of like, okay, like let's try and work out a deal to grab all these all in one go. Especially because this was from a local game store in the Western New York area. I don't frequent these too often, but it was the one in Lockport called Toys from Low. He's always got some pretty cool inventory and a really nice guy as well. So he was kind enough to work out a deal on, all these games. Minish Cap. Now, some of you might remember we did that one video with my best friend Terrell Smith, a lovely man, and he was able to, I did that thing where I gave him $300 and I said, hey, just go buy me games and that'll be like content. And it was something where not only did he do an absolutely fantastic job at like knowing my tastes and what I want, but the big item in there was he bought a loose Minish Cap. And now that I'm into Complete in Box Game Boy Advance, it's like, oh, well, I got to get that at some point. So the game is in here, as in that's what he was offering and selling. He wasn't going to, like, separate the games, essentially. So I do technically have two copies. I actually took Terrell's copy that he bought me, threw that in here, and then I just have the other loose one, because I'm not going to get rid of the copy that Terrell gave me. But it's nice to have the box and manual, and that's all complete. Then we also have Super Mario Brothers Deluxe Game Boy Color, and I hope you're noticing just how unbelievably minty a lot of these games are. They do have their standard sort of like edgeware, as you can see, but I mean, in terms of front facing, which I'm going to take these out of the containers later to give you a better shot of just how nice these are, but my god, I can't believe how good some of these look. This is probably the worst one in terms of condition, which is Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, which I had already gotten the first one at too many games, so I'm glad to now have both of these. And yeah, this one's probably the worst just because of that little edgeware right there, but I'm telling you, these 6 Game Boy Advance games, this is what we came to a deal on, and so the total was about $655. Now, in terms of market value and what the games are actually worth, that's about even. So it wasn't necessarily a deal, but the thing is, when you're talking cash, and I would instead buy these games individually from eBay or something, which I've typically been doing, that's how the cost counter, which I share because I know people are nosy about that stuff, but that's how the cost counter gets so high so quickly. That always includes taxes and shipping. Those two items alone always really runs this stuff up. So to actually get true market value on what is games that are in such good condition, which I'll probably just overlay some B-roll showing you like how clean these games look outside of the box protectors. I just cannot believe how clean they are, and so it just made too much sense to grab them all right then and there, not buying them individually and paying for the taxes and shipping and all that. So really happy to work out a deal with, again, Toys from Low. That's out in Lockport. That's one of our local game stores, which I don't frequent too often, but considering that's the kind of money I spent on that last visit, maybe it's a good thing I'm not always going over there, or our other local stores, which we have a few options, but really not that many. But now we can get into some of the other online buys, the actual unboxing goodness that we love to do on this channel. So the Amazon ones, I guess we'll just knock these out real quick, because these were just things that, again, I don't try to buy from Amazon often, but if they have like a good deal, I'm not going to pass up on it. I'll sort of risk the possibility that it doesn't show up in good condition. But we'll start off with, hey, the Gray Hill Incidents. So it's looking pretty good there, right? Grey Hill Incident was 25 bucks, I think, and it is pretty silly. Didn't really review well, but something like this, I don't know, it just kind of drew my attention immediately. I think it is one of those games where, despite reviews and how, like, sort of janky it looks janky in a good, fun way, and that is absolutely why I had to grab the physical for this bad boy right here. And we may or may not be using this game for a certain video that people are really looking forward to, that I sometimes film during October, that I've only done twice thus far. I might use it for that. I don't necessarily know for sure just yet, and I am filming this a bit early, by the time you're watching this, I should say. Next is Synth Riders Remastered Edition, PlayStation VR2. So this will be my first genuine on-disc PSVR2 game. I'd like to grab most of the PSVR2 games that are on disc. I have some that are on pre-order, and considering these are really far and few between, I feel like I should probably be picking up some of these, even the ones that maybe don't speak to me or grab me that much in terms of the attention or how much I want to play the game, but I just feel there's almost an obligation to pick up a lot of the PSVR2 games that are getting printed on disc, since, yeah, it seems like it's very far and few between for that headset, unfortunately. It's a lot different compared to PSVR2. Times are certainly a-changing. But moving on to our next Amazon purchase. This was part of a buy two, get one, I believe, or buy one, get one free that Amazon was running, so yeah, this one came in separately. Theater Rhythm, Final Bar Line. The other one I couldn't include here because it was like I had ordered other items, obviously, and based on fulfillment where those games are located at Amazon's warehouse centers, they sent like a giant box for, you know, things that I had gotten, like a large item, and then like tucked inside was the other game I got, which was Forspoken on PS5, which I felt that was a good time to get it because I was basically getting Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line for free, essentially. Or I'll just add that value of like cut in half for what the game really was out of pocket, so to speak. But you know what? This I wasn't really like planning on getting, if I'm being honest. And I don't know why I wasn't planning on getting it, because I love the music and I love rhythm games and I like Final Fantasy. I feel like this would be a no-brainer for me, but I don't know, I just wasn't really like dying to buy it, but considering that was like a deal, why not? Let's do a magazine from the Video Game History Foundation. See what we got going on in here. We've had some good luck with this stuff recently. All right, we've got Computer Gaming World, EverQuest, Shadows of Lukeland, plus PlanetSide, Sony's stunning online shooter. Oh my god, PlanetSide. It's been a long time since I heard that. Well, I can admit right away that maybe our luck ran out on this particular issue. Not much of a PC person, if it wasn't obvious. I do play games on PC occasionally, although it's very infrequent. Case in point, I'll even play simulators and management sim games on console, although that speaks more to my obsession with trophies than anything else, I think. But let's move on to Forever Physical, good old limited run. I can't even remember what the hell this is, if I'm being even more honest than I was before. I see a PS5 label. What was it? Oh, it was Shantae. Alright, so I think that completes my Shantae collection on PlayStation 5. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's all of them finally being fulfilled. That's the thing with limited run, you place an order and God knows when it's going to get to you, but it will eventually show up at some point. So Shantae looks really nice, actually. And I feel like I am one of the oddball people out that are, going for this full set on PlayStation 5, no less. Seems like most people are always picking up the Switch version of this, but still really cool to have this on PS5, I think, considering it seems like the lesser version. Or, again, the one that's not being sold nearly as much. I don't recall what this is. So now we're getting into the fun, I forgot what this is territory. It's a PlayStation 3 game? Oh, yeah! Okay. Yeah, this was kind of like a why not sort of thing. And I don't know what it is. I'm seeing so many more of these lately, and I'm fairly certain that Sony was offloading a lot of these because it's, again, one of those employee games, and because it's a sealed game, but it has the UPC punched out so it can't be returned for the value of the game. They want you to take these as the games for free. So this was likely part of some sort of like free liquidation handout at Sony. I'm not sure if it was recent, but that's likely where this came from, or it could have been a sort of in-store employee royalty program thing or something like that. But typically these are always like SIE handouts, and it was like, yeah, I think for the counter it was like $15-something, like brand new. I have the big box for Volume 2 on PlayStation 3, which is the purple box art, and that's the big box that'll include the microphone, so I really only need the case, because the cool thing you can do with these games, even with PS2 discs on PlayStation 3, I just full out said deck, and we're going to leave that in there because there's really no way to get around that. What you can do is swap those discs in PlayStation 3, and you can pick one game to play off of, but swap the discs and access the tracks. You can even do that for the PS2 games. It'll just read the songs more or less off of that. Moving on to our next title here, the Fangamer one. I think this is... Well, I don't know why I would say it before we even actually open it. Ooh! This looks so goddamn sexy. Tunic on PlayStation 4. Let me tell you something. When this game came out, my God, was I like, this is right up my alley. And so it's, again, one of those things where you just wait for the physical to come out. That is a pretty interesting thing about buying physical games nowadays, is that we do have a lot of disc prints for, some of these smaller scale indie titles or games that are just approached a little bit differently, even if they do have a publisher, this and that. But they're always launching on PSN first, and you you have to wait for the disc at this point. But I'm fine with that, especially because this is such a nice one with that reflective cover. And it is only on PlayStation 4, by the way, in terms of the physical print. So that's why it says PS5 upgrade available. Otherwise, I would have bought a PS5 disc if they were doing that, and now it's one of those things where I kind of hope they don't, because then it's like, well, I don't necessarily need Tunic on PS4 and PS5, because I can just play the disc off this and get the PS5 upgrade. But if I want to be antsy about it, then I would be wanting the cover to say PS5. All right, we are going off the rails here, as we like to do. I mean, is there even a point in having rails at this point, right? Just kind of let this thing go where it feels where it's most natural. Ha ha ha! Of course. I can't not, right? Mario Tennis Power Shot for the Game Boy Advance. Pretty clean looking box, and I'll tell you what, the price was really good. You want to know why? Because your boy did something he doesn't normally do, which is he bid on this. It was an auction, and yeah, nobody bid. I just took a shot at it, because at the time I was like, I'm not looking to spend like $60-something on this, or 80, 90, whatever the hell it's going for. But essentially, I did see a listing where it was an auction, and I put in a bid, and I was the only bidder, which that's the few times, those are like the few moments where I, for some reason, decide to bid on eBay, is when I have a sneaking suspicion that I might get away with being the only bidder, and if I get outbid, then I just like give up. But yeah, John from Spawnwave was informing me that this is more of like an RPG, essentially, given that the studio behind it did Golden Sun, so it's very much got that sort of Golden Sun flavor with the way it's approached, and I'm like, oh, that sounds right up my alley. Like, for a tennis game, I'm in. Now, next up, or rather our final game here, in a pretty sizable box. Oh yeah, I forgot about this too. iPad, sealed on PlayStation Portable. This was also very inexpensive, like $25-something, I think, and considering it comes with the camera, so it's a more or less brand new, new old stock camera for the PlayStation Portable. The second version of the camera, there is a different one that's all silver that has a slightly higher resolution that you can set it to for recording and things like that. But I figured, why not? Another Sony published property that that's kind of like one of my soft goals, is eventually getting every like Sony published game. And iPad is certainly part of that history. Now, our final magazine from the Video Game History Foundation. I'd say this is a good one. So, PlayStation Magazine, Rumble Roses and WWE SmackDown versus Raw. Of course, Rumble Roses is right up front here. So, I remember this game quite well. Big surprise. But I remember the 360 one a lot. So this will be interesting. The new PS2, what it will and won't do. Only in PSM, Prince of Persia. Some other headlines here. Star Ocean, Monster Hunter, Underground 2. Yeah, well, obviously we're thrilled to see anything PlayStation Magazine, and gee whiz, what a thirsty one to get. All right, here is everything laid out, son, and it doesn't look like much, but it does look like a very intense dopamine hit, and folks, I am high as a kite right now. Very pleased to have both Golden Suns, Wario Land 4, and also completing a Minish Cap with the copy Terrell got me, so always nice to have some kind of sentimental value you can apply to at least, you know, something that's clearly after the fact. It's not my original copy or anything, but I'll also take any Mario games. I'm just, I love that. So those games alongside some occasional modern pickups, I think we made out pretty good on this one. So thank you so much for watching, as always, and I will see you all in my next one. You take it easy.